housing, the environment has to be
What we're saying is have a heart.
We've got to be able to regenerate our
There'll
economy.
be people who are kind, people who are cruel, but that's life. You can be bitter about things. I'm fine with that.
What's wrong with Singaporeans?
Okay, so any last words from anybody before we close the discussion on what you see as the future trends for tattoos in society?
I think they will, maybe the society will understand a little bit more over time to be able to differentiate the different types of tattoos. You know, those that are artistic and those that has a secret society or something to do with the crimes, like those who are drug addicts. The society may learn a little bit more over time.
I think we're
and
already
be able
like
to
coming
differentiate
close
the
to
two.
that point. You know, I feel like maybe people over the age of like late 40s to like 50s, 60s, they still have these like very traditional ideas about it. Associated with like gangs or like delinquents, but I think late 30s or like 40s and younger, they really like have a different idea of it. And then if you get to people around our age, like 20s and all, we're so used to seeing all different types of tattoos like on our friends. Like so many of my female friends, like they'll have like a little like at least one or two like something feminine, something like girly, nothing you would ever associate with any kind of like gang or anything bad like that.
I don't think it's a matter of society changing its attitude, because tattoos have been around since something like 4,000 years before Christ.
Yeah.
And they've been in every society, and there were times when, I mean, I'm English, and in our old times they used woad, which is a sort of blue mud rather than tattoos, but woad stained, and they had markings, and I think it was tribal, because if you had certain markings on your face, your mates could recognize it was you're on the same side. But attitudes have always been there. They have, and I don't have, and I'm the older society quite definitely, and I'm the traditional society. I don't have an attitude that I don't like tattoos. I have an attitude that there are some tattoos which are appropriate, and there are some that are not, and it is time and place, and it is the individual as well. I also am very concerned about very young people, as you've been discussing, going in and getting something which will mark them for the rest of their lives without really being fully aware of the consequences of what they're doing. Now, there may be people in their 60s who go and have tattoos and want them, and fine, that's their choice. But when you're talking of kids, and I would say under 25 rather than under 18, and even at 25, do young people really know what lies ahead of them in life? Do they really know? They're stigmatizing themselves in a way, and it's a stigma which will stay with
Stigmatizing,
them
not
for life.
beautifying.
Well, that's a matter of perception. In your case, I mean, this is beautiful and it's art and everything else, but it's not really art because it's covered up by a t-shirt. So I mean, we only see a little bit of it. If you can display the whole, you would walk down the street and people say, wow. As it is, you walk down the street and you've got a t-shirt on, they say, well, what's he doing? Because you can only see a bit, you can only see bits of it.
I think the other thing that I wanted to just touch on is say that that oh, we are the 20-something and we are therefore cool with it. I think for those of us who have gone through life a little bit longer, that was exactly what we say when we were in our 20s to our parents.
Yeah.
That tattoo is cool, and
No, well,
it's,
that's
it's
not
not about the
that's
cool
not really
factor,
what I said. Like that's
and it's acceptable. We do it for beauties or for because expression of self.
I don't really see that many people around my age judging anyone else like based on their tattoos, rather than like the older generation. I feel like they would be more judgmental right off the bat, like when you see the tattoos. Whereas if I came across a guy like Baldwin, I wouldn't even like think twice. I'd be like, all right.
Yet
I
you're
don't really
talking
think it's-
from the perspective of somebody who's been around tattoos for quite a long time,
No,
involved in the
just
industry,
1.5
you
years.
like it.
Just 1.5
For
years.
people who have no experience of the tattoo industry and the tattoo artist, they will find someone like you walking down the street actually initially quite scary. Their initial reaction would be, ugh, I'm scared. Actually, when you smile, you've got such a lovely smile, it lights everything up and all that fear can go, just as you have. But the initial, remember, when you meet someone, the impact you make is made in the first 5 seconds. And that is a psychological fact.
Yeah, and even if, let's say, Bowie makes a choice to have tattoos that frighten people, it's his choice.
It's not wrong. I'm going.
You know? But what I'm saying, it is his choice, and nobody's saying he should not make that choice. What I am saying is he cannot expect society to accept him immediately because society does not have sufficient understanding.
Let's imagine if, for example, you have done all this tattoo, and for some reason tattoo is no longer popular, and therefore the jobs is no longer exist. Just for example, this is imagination, and because of that you can't, and because of the tattoos that you have, you can't get a proper job. How would that affect how you feel now?
I already know if I'm not in this line, right, then I will work in the zoo because I love animals.
Go to the zoo. Okay.
Yeah.
And animals are not going to discriminate.
Yeah, actually, I prefer animals than humans. Yeah.
Okay, you're unusual. Can we talk about what do you think would be the future perceptions of people with tattoos? You have been a victim of a lot of prejudice. Yeah, Jonathan. 你坎坷，唔是？
这是个人的兴趣啦和个人的看法。好像他所说，不是说有纹身就是社会党，但是有的人也会不接受我们，但是也有的人也会欢迎我们，这是要看我们本身怎么样去面对这个社会。
You say it's up to every individual. We may continue to have people around who don't like us or feel not so comfortable with tattoos around, but there are also people who may gladly accept, and it's fine. It's up to each individual.
How about you, Vincent? What's your view of that?
Actually, I feel that there is no, for me personally, I don't have a right or wrong towards it. Like I said, I went through it, I know what is it, and I'm okay, I'm also okay with it. Is that I just want to do, I went through the experience of having 16-year-old having a tattoo is a form of statement I want to bring across, whether to my family, telling them I'm rebellious enough to show you I go tattooing, and it all started there. And then later on, when I affiliated with a gang, then I put on some more. And every time I go prison, I feel that when I come out, I must put.
All right, Maya.
Okay.
We won't forget you.
I've got quite a bit to say. Okay. What I feel is, I know the younger generation, around my age or younger, they are getting more and more accepting of having tattoos, tattooed friends, or people with tattoos, irregardless of whether it looks like religious scriptures or a gang, whatever, As long as you have a tattoo, they are fine with it. They are less judgmental as opposed to the older generation, which is, like she mentioned, above 40 plus 50, because I get judged a lot also, and we don't like to get judged. But at the same time, if somebody wants to get a tattoo and that person is rather young, and when I say young, I would say below 30 years old, I would not really advise them to do it, because even for me, when I was 26, I was still thinking, yeah, I would want it, but as I got older, I regretted it, and I know there'll be people who don't regret it, but you just don't know when you're gonna have that moment whereby you just, okay, I regret it, or something hits you, and but at the same time, I wouldn't want anyone in the society to actually judge any one of us who already have tattoo, because you have every piece of tattoo is a history of yourself. Like Dr. Tan mentioned, it's your story, it's your past, it was who you were. It's just that we choose to put it on our bodies, and not having a tattoo doesn't make you any more an angel as compared to the rest of us. So I don't see why anyone should judge us. But at the same time, if given a choice, I would not have put my tattoos, and that I would not encourage people to get a tattoo if they are doing it at the spur of a moment. When I say spur of a moment, it could even mean like, I like this. This is like a trend, you know. It shouldn't be a trend thing. It should really mean something to you, or really last resort. You have to do it, you know, just so that you can get by, make yourself feel better.
I'm only 25, but I feel I've made a lot of choices that I regret now that have nothing to do with tattoos. So I feel that my choice to get a tattoo is just another choice, which shouldn't be judged as an extremely unorthodox or taboo choice. If I were to regret it when I'm 50, then so be it. But right now I'm enjoying it. And so, yeah, I don't think I should be judged for enjoying this moment.
Yeah.
And or to be told that I will regret it when I'm 50.
Fair enough. I think it's only that this forum has put tattooing in the spotlight. I don't think that tattooing is always a major source of focus for everybody. But I also feel that, having listened to all of you tonight, that we really have to make, first of all, tattoos have been around for thousands of years.
It's
so
getting
talking
more
about the
expensive.
older generation and the younger generation may not exactly be relevant, because tattoos in the past have always been used for religious or recognition purposes or to celebrate moments. And we have to separate that from the tattoos that are now being seen as artworks. And I think that the professionals who do those tattoos and the people who put on those tattoos value it for art's sake rather than as tattoos. So there's a distinction between those two. And a distinction should be made because perceptions for these two are different. Secondly, also, where you put the tattoos is important. And there are certain areas that should be taboo, like the face, unless you are like a tattoo artist and want to do it. Also, the question of the amount of tattoos that you put on the body, it's not the more the merrier. It has to be tastefully done, and it has to be done in the right place. And I think more important is that it is surprising that there is no regulation on the tattoo business, and I think it's time that there is room for regulation on the professional practices of tattoo, and whether they all have autoclaves, the health aspects of it, and also the restriction of children who want to have tattoos. And by children, we've had different definitions. The voting age is 18, but Brenda says she should be 25, and Maya says she should be 30.
30, yes.
Well, it leaves me now to thank you all for coming and participating in the discussion.
Thank you.
Good night. Thank you for joining us.